It really bugs me that everything is shutting down and all these chains are coming in. They're just taking over everything that made Queen West what it is.
Doesn't it make you angry? It's like the soul's being sucked out of the neighborhood.
Isn't there something that we can do about it?
Maybe there is, Dana, but I'm out of ideas.
I need to go inside. I have to see.
Dana, you're scaring me.
Snow is a story about a woman living in Queen Street West, and she's coming to grips with a changing neighborhood.
Snow was originally a graphic novel by Benjamin Rivers, and then later Ryan decided to adapt it into a movie.
One thing we can all relate to is the fact that the place you grew up in is never the same when you return there as an adult. But this story takes place over a much shorter period of time, and you get to see someone's transformation as they realize where they live is not the same, and how they relate to their area is not the same anymore.
It almost works as a love story between her neighborhood and herself, and they're both moving in different directions, and they're having problems with that.
You've got to be kidding me.
Who's kidding you?
Oh, hey, Julia.
What's shaking?
They're closed.
Like closed?
Yep.
Another one bites the dust.
What is going on with Queen Street? It's like everything is shutting down.
It's pretty dumb. This place will probably be selling grande bowls by the end of the week.
When Dana sort of came into my head, she was just a little like doodle in a sketchbook, and it was just someone who I liked aesthetically, someone I thought was neat, and she was very simple looking, and I just kind of liked that you could apply so many things to her.
When I read the graphic novel originally and the adaptation, what really stood out to me is that Dana isn't like, you know, this super powerhouse of a woman. She's just so normal, and like a lot of the things that I find within myself that I don't necessarily like to embrace, like a little more introverted, a little more keeping to herself, just sort of trying to get through her job and enjoying it, but she's just sort of just low-key, gets by, likes her interests, keeps them sort of close to her, but isn't exceptionally outgoing or smart or brave or strong or anything like that. And it's nice to sort of just see how does a normal person deal with normal things that happen in their neighborhood, and then how does that change when out of the ordinary things happen.
Hello, is someone there?
So Dana is, I would hesitate to call her like an every woman character. She was real to me, and that's what kind of drew me to the character a lot.
So it's interesting because how do you play that to still make it watchable, to make it someone you're curious about when she's not particularly like out of the ordinary, I guess?
She's not defined by any other person around her, you know, she's not defined by a boyfriend or a husband or anything like that. And that's probably because, to me, that wasn't important for her, and to her that's not really important.
Jacket boy?
And I just like the fact that that's just a plot thread we don't even have to worry about, because that's not really what like her journey is about.
So, where are we going?
Do you have a shack?
We partied there too much. Can we go somewhere else?
Okay, fine. How about that place that opened up last month? The one near Augusta?
The Batcave?
Yes, that one.
Sure.
Last one there buys the first round.
When I first saw Queen Street West, it was goth fashion shops, punk stores, record shops, comic book stores, and a bunch of other stuff I didn't even know at the time. And I was a college student, I had never been in downtown Toronto before, and it kind of freaked me out in a really interesting way.
Hey Dana! Queen West has its own special sketch. It's you cross the street, and you've got such a mishmash of people coming from all different walks of life, and it's nice to see everyone kind of colliding.
It's like you can understand Toronto just by sitting on Queen Street West and watching what happens for a couple hours.
If you take the streetcar, let's say from Yonge and Queen or even more east, and you just take it all the way west, like the way that you see the buildings changing, the cafes changing, like sort of the houses changing, the architecture, it's really, really interesting to me how much things can change from one end of the street to the other.
I look at every store when I walk by because I never know how long it's going to be there. And if I see something that opens up, I always think, you know what, if I want to check it out, I really should, because I know how fast things can change around here.
Even coming here today, I would see things like, oh, what's that cafe? Oh, I haven't seen that before. Is that like a bar over there? That looks kind of fancy. Is that like, can I go there for drinks after? And just every single time I'm on this street, I always pick up something new, someplace that's just open, someplace that's just closing. And so it's interesting to me that as far as I've known Queen Street West, it's always been a street in transition.
Huh. That's new.
Nothing's ever the same for very, very long, sometimes in very extreme degrees. But we often think about that in terms of economics or history, and never in terms of the people who live there. So for me, it was really interesting to take Dana, who I always envisioned as sort of this very timid, not very confident person, and to just throw her into a situation where she suddenly had to deal with the fact that nothing was comfortable, nothing was the way she wanted it to be, and she had to just grow to deal with it.
The challenges that Dana faces in the story are challenges that Torontonians, especially those who live or work or are commuting downtown a lot, face every day. So to see a Toronto story told about Toronto that's very reflective of Toronto is what is, I think, unique about a story like Snow. The story of Snow and how we got together to make it was one where we decided to bootstrap it and make the film because we wanted to do something awesome. Decided I was going to put a team together, a very small team but a very dedicated cast and crew. And the smaller the team, the easier it is to maneuver. So we were able to make Snow very quickly, but we were able to do it right. Making Snow was a lot of favors being called in, friends helping out, and everyone doing an amazing job repeatedly for what seems like cookies and nachos. Because the story takes place in Queen Street West, we were able to get a few actual locations from the graphic novel itself with the blessing of the owners. And we were able to do a really authentic adaptation of the story for the film.
This is Dana Forte calling.
There are some critical scenes in the movie that take place in a laundromat on Queen Street West, just past Spadina. We were able to use the exact laundromat that the graphic novelist Benjamin Rivers depicted in the graphic novel. The interesting thing was, shortly after we completed filming the movie, the laundromat closed. And it doesn't exist anymore. It's becoming like a Shakes and Franks type place. So some of the bars that were depicted in the graphic novel, they don't exist anymore. So we shot some scenes at the County General with their blessing.
Will it be, ladies?
And we made it take place at the County General. So it was one more layer of authenticity. That kind of authenticity comes through with the film and makes it a bit more not necessarily more believable, but more identifiable.
Hey, remember what I said the other day?
I do. And I've already taken the first step.
Good. I meant what I said. You can do it.
I love Snow the film. I think it's really interesting that you can have a character on a page that suddenly becomes a real human, and they sort of almost grow in front of you like you would imagine they do when you wrote them. But because there are other people interpreting these characters, you get to learn something new from them, which you don't when you write it because you've been living with them for so long. That's the most exciting thing to me about watching the movie.
Don't touch me! Leave her alone.
What'd you say?
I said leave her alone, you miserable creep.
And that's exactly why so many people are moving to West Queen West. It's the new Queen West.
Well, I'm not moving. I'm gonna stay.